By the right, dress your ranks, men.
We will not stand for this infringement on our rights as Englishmen.
Oh! The governor will hear our petition. Rest assured.
Imagine a town with no harbour, no massive population, and no grand skyline, yet one that quietly controlled the future of an entire colony. This was Williamsburg, Virginia, in the early 1700s. Power here didn't arrive by sea. It emerged inland, built deliberately, and designed to govern rather than trade. Williamsburg's story begins in Jamestown's shadow, born from the need for healthier ground, stability, and permanence. In 1699, the capital moved here. Soon after, Middle Plantation became Williamsburg, named for King William III. This was not an accident of growth. Williamsburg was designed to project order, authority, and permanence. Here, Virginia trained its future leaders, lawmakers, clergy, and administrators who would shape the colony's fate. Education and governance were inseparable. Power here was taught, rehearsed, and refined. Daily life unfolded alongside power. Politics lived in the same streets as trade, labor, and conversation. Enslaved Africans were everywhere, their labor sustaining the town, even as their voices were erased. Williamsburg's beauty and authority coexisted with a system of control enforced through law and force. At the western end of the town stands the governor's palace, the most visible symbol of royal authority in colonial Virginia. This was more than a residence. It was a stage where power was performed and authority made visible. Inside, imported furnishings and formal spaces reinforced Britain's presence, luxury as legitimacy. Every gathering reinforced rank. Power here was structured, observed, and rarely questioned aloud. Across from royal authority stood something new, the institutions of representative government. Here, laws were debated, governing land, trade, taxation, and human lives. The House of Burgesses was the first representative assembly in British North America, and its influence was growing. Decisions made in rooms like this shaped Virginia and quietly tested imperial limits. Between royal power and representative government, Williamsburg existed in careful balance. In taverns like these, ideas flowed more freely than in any official chamber. At midday, Williamsburg moves with quiet efficiency, governance woven into daily routine. Court days transformed Williamsburg, drawing people from across the colony into its political orbit. Here, law and rumor mixed freely, ideas traveling faster than decrees. Behind Williamsburg's order stood a system sustained by forced labor, present everywhere, recorded almost nowhere. Power and exploitation existed side by side, inseparable yet rarely confronted. Though inland, Williamsburg never escaped imperial reach. Ideas traveled not by proclamation, but by paper and conversation. By the 1760s, Williamsburg stood divided, loyalty and resistance colliding.
We will not stand for this infringement on our rights as Englishmen.
Oh! The governor will hear our petition, rest assured.
Voices like Patrick Henry's challenged authority and changed the course of history.
Or give me death.
Williamsburg had become more than a capital. It was now a catalyst. In 1775, a single act would push Williamsburg to the brink of open conflict. Under orders from the royal governor, Virginia's gunpowder was taken, without consent. By morning, Williamsburg knew trust had been broken. Virginia's response was swift. armed, organized, and resolute.
Quickly now, shoulder your firelocks!
Royal authority still stood, but it no longer felt secure. When the governor dissolved the assembly, resistance moved beyond official halls. Here, colonial government transformed into revolutionary leadership.
Free from the tyranny of Parliament.
For a brief moment, Williamsburg became the nerve center of revolution.
Gentlemen, we must vote for independence.
Imperial power retreated, not in triumph, but in uncertainty. Williamsburg would never be the same again. War reshaped Williamsburg, not through destruction, but through uncertainty. The revolution passed through Williamsburg, leaving tension in its wake. The revolution passed through Williamsburg, leaving tension in its wake. The halls of power grew quieter as influence shifted elsewhere. In 1780, the capital moved to Richmond, marking the end of Williamsburg's reign. But the town endured. Life continued, even as history moved on. The symbols of authority remained, without the authority itself. Williamsburg slipped from power into memory. Ironically, loss of importance preserved what once defined it. Williamsburg had become something rare, a living echo of colonial America. Williamsburg survived not through progress, but through pause. Its buildings endured because nothing replaced them. While America modernized, Williamsburg stood still. Over time, stillness became significance. Preservation began with reverence, not reinvention. The past was not replaced, it was revived. What once governed a colony now educates a nation. Williamsburg lives again, not as power, but as memory. The blueprint of colonial authority still shapes the town. Here, ideas were forged that would outlast empires. When the noise fades, the streets begin to speak. Every surface carries the memory of those who passed before. Here, words once carried the weight of a continent's future. Power once lived behind these walls, quiet but absolute. This town was designed not to impress, but to endure. Time has changed the world, but not this place. Each new day reveals the past again. History was never about buildings alone. It was about people. From this small town, ideas took root that reshaped a nation. Through Reconstruction, we glimpse not just how it looked, but how it felt.